The Whispers in the Water by E.J. Moore, Part 5. For the next few days, Greg did nothing but listen, his mind drifting further and further into obsession. He searched for a real warning, anything that would guarantee he could finally help someone. Then it came, identifiable details. The boy with the yellow backpack. He must not play alone in the park. The next day, Greg spotted the boy near the swings, laughing as he kicked at the dirt. His stomach twisted as he stumbled toward the couple standing closest to the boy, his voice barely more than a rasp. "Please, just take him home. He can't be here." To his surprise, they didn't argue. They exchanged a puzzled glance, hesitated, then silently scooped up the boy and quickly walked away. The boy stared over the stranger's shoulder at Greg with a look of confusion as the couple loaded him into the back seat. Moments later, their white SUV disappeared down the street. Greg breathed a shaky sigh of relief. It was the first time he had felt a sliver of control. That night, scrolling through social media, a post caught his eye. A news alert. A child had been kidnapped from a local park and murdered. His body was found in a pond. The article included a photo. The boy from the park. Greg's eyes widened as his breath caught in his throat. David Weiler, age 7, the caption read. It was a picture of his first day of school, a great big smile and a bright yellow backpack as he stood between his parents, two people Greg had never seen before. Police are searching for an unidentified couple last seen driving a white SUV, captured on CCTV footage heading, as all sound started to fade. Greg's body stiffened as the color drained from his face. Paralyzed with shock, he lay there as the next few days passed. All at once, it had all become too much, the last thread of his sanity stretching to its limit. Greg stopped eating, stopped sleeping altogether, stopped going to work. He just sat in front of the fish tank, rocking, listening. His apartment, now completely trashed, had become a prison. The fish tank, his warden. The whispers grew louder, filling every moment with an endless, overlapping chorus. They weren't just warnings anymore. They knew him. You cannot save them. You never could. I never could, he repeated, nodding his head, rubbing his scar. The memory played on repeat. Years ago, when he was 17, his home went up in flames. He ran outside the moment he smelled smoke, gasping for air in the cool night. Instantly, a terrible realization struck him. He was alone. Then, the screams. Without thinking, he turned back. The front door loomed before him, smoke billowing through the cracks. Heat slammed into him, a suffocating wall of fire and ash. He hesitated, just for a moment. Then he moved. But it was too late. By the time he had forced the door open, the fire had already consumed everything. Heat lashed out, searing his right hand. A final blistering kiss, branding him with a memory he'd never escape. His mother, his father, his older sister, and his little brother, all gone. The guilt clawed at his chest as if it might rip its way out. But the whispers delighted in that memory, gnawing at the wound until it festered. A cruel test he was doomed to fail again and again. Part 6. All alone in his dark apartment, taunted by the fish tank, time collapsed in on itself. He felt as if the days were choking into weeks, weeks rotting into months. A relentless epic of warnings, each one twisting into another failure, another death. Greg stopped counting, stopped hoping. The whispers never ceased, never faltered, only grew louder, drowning out his thoughts, his sanity. This can't be real. It can't be. His rationale clawed for something safe, anything, but the world no longer had edges to grasp. Then suddenly the whispers changed. They became angrier, hotter, more direct. "Your time is near." His chest tightened. "What do you mean?" he whispered. The whispers did not explain. Instead, they demanded, "Look closer." He leaned forward, his face inches from the tank. The water rippled, distorting the reflections of the fish as he blinked. Something moved behind the glass. The whispers grew frantic. "You cannot escape it. The end comes for you." His breathing grew ragged as he stared into the tank, his reflection. A hollow-eyed man, fraying at the edges, staring back. And beneath the water, something else stared too. It had been watching all along. "You have failed," the whispers declared with a cold pride. A cruel, twisting rage bubbled up inside him. "Shut up, shut up. I tried. I did my best. I just wanted to fucking help," he screamed, grabbing a heavy book, smashing it, and his hand into the tank. A splintered fragment sank into his wrist, stinging immediately. Glass shattered. Water gushed out, soaking the floor, darkening with the fresh blood leaking from his left hand. The water taking claim to what the fire had spared. One fish flopped helplessly in the chaos. A small, unassuming, silvery guppy. Or, at least it had been. As Greg watched, its body began to twist and writhe, its form changing in impossible ways. The creature that emerged was no fish. Its skin shimmered like liquid mercury, rolling over itself in all directions. Its limbs unfurled into a coil, stretching endlessly yet never growing. A strange hum punctuating each gliding movement. It had no face, but he could feel its cold, unrelenting gaze boring into him, clawing at his sanity with prying fingers. The smell of rotten seaweed and burnt sugar drowned the apartment. Reality wobbled as if the thing's presence defied the space it occupied. The whispers swelled into a deafening roar, smothering any scream Greg might have made as the creature lunged, not with movement, but sheer presence seizing his scarred hands. It didn't just engulf him, it was consuming him. A never-ending crashing wave of tendrils, glimmering with an eerie beauty, pulling him deeper into its essence. Greg's body contorted, joints bending in ways unintended, muscles pulling and reshaping, as if being molded by the unseen. His form unraveling and reforming endlessly in a moment, until he was no longer himself but a part of the being that had captivated and destroyed his mind. His screams now intertwined with the whispers. The glimmer of hope in his eye had been smothered, replaced with an unimaginable torment. With a wet, unnatural pop, the creature folded in on itself and disappeared. The whispers had gone silent. Part 7. A couple of days later, 2 police officers surveyed the empty apartment. "Door was unlocked, cracked open," the younger officer noted. "Blood on the floor comes back to a Gregory Ward, tenant of the apartment. The fish tank is shattered, but no sign of him." As he lifted his hands with a quick shrug, "Neighbors say he almost never left his apartment but started ranting and rambling to himself at all hours," the older officer said, nudging one of the small plastic fish on the floor with the tip of his boot. "Lady downstairs said it all started about 2. He stopped and glanced around. "Do you hear that? Is there someone else here?" he asked the younger officer as he inspected a nearby closet. The younger officer raised an eyebrow, forced a frown. "No," he said, shaking his head. "I cleared the apartment myself. We're the only 2 here, man." "Right," the older officer grumbled, his eyes darting around the room with suspicion as he continued. "Well, the lady downstairs said it started about 2 weeks ago. Saw him leaning out the window hugging the air before throwing himself backwards into the apartment." The younger officer chuckled. "Sounds like he went crazy, broke the tank, hurt himself, and just left. "This isn't a joke, kid," the older officer snipped. "Just do your job." The officers quietly finished their report, wrote up a missing person flyer, and left the apartment. The flyer was tacked onto a bulletin board downtown, where it quickly disappeared under layers of other notices, forgotten by everyone who passed by. Back in the top-floor apartment, the shattered fish tank lay silent. The water had dried, the glass was gone, and the whispers had ceased. But in the faint glow of the streetlights outside, the shadows on the walls seemed to ripple, as if the tank's secrets had seeped into the very fabric of the room, waiting for the next restless mind to listen.